Welcome to the Marshall Pro Podcast, brought to you by Cooper Tires, the Justice Brothers, and Ginetta Cars for this week at Le Mans. We have a special feature here, about 20 minutes of combined interviews with Aston Martin on the announcement of their brand new hypercar plans coming in 2021. We start off with Aston Martin CEO Andy Palmer, then follow with Dave King, head of Aston Martin Racing, and we close with Marek Reichmann, the person who has designed every Aston Martin since the DB9, most recent DB9. All three men captured in interviews with our friend Graham Goodwin from dailysportscar.com just immediately following the ACO press conference confirming the hypercar plans that are coming, not next year, but the year after. All right, let's get going with Andy Palmer, Dave King, and Marek Reichmann, brought to you by Cooper Tires, the Justice Brothers, and Ginetta Cars.
Well, it's a huge day of announcements at Le Mans, with the ACO press conference just complete, and just herring over here to Aston Martin's hospitality, where Andy Palmer with David King, you've just announced some really exciting news for the future of Aston Martin in World Endurance Championship.
Well, indeed, I think so. As you heard earlier, the FIA and ACO announced a change to the rule of what has traditionally been called LMP1, the top class of racing in the World Endurance Championship, which has allowed what the so-called hypercar category to exist. That's the ability to take road-going hypercars and come and race them at Le Mans. I think, I've been involved in that conversation with the FIA for a long time, saying that if you want to excite the fans, they've got to be able to see cars that they can relate to, and I question whether prototypes and whether diesel hybrids is really the place that's of something that you can really relate to. Great racing, but can you relate to it? So a long conversation has got us to a point where we can imagine taking hypercars on the track. And we're in a really fortunate position insofar as the development of the Valkyrie is very well advanced. And it's kind of dropped in our lap insofar as we can get a car to that 2020-2021 grid, just 15 months away. It's a very short time. And we can, again, go for that top honour of, hopefully, no one should ever underestimate Le Mans, but hopefully getting the top step and, re-celebrating the victory that we saw in 1959.
Since you arrived at Aston Martin, there's been just nothing other than a reaffirmation of motorsport as a key part of underlying Aston Martin's brand values. This is another step on that road, back to the top class, and with a serious effort and with some serious partners involved here.
Yeah, we're not announcing the partners yet, but it doesn't take too much imagination to imagine who we'll be working with. The point is here that we are the independent British car company. We're the only one listed on the stock exchange, and in that sense, we're a celebration of what Brits do well in racing. And there's a lot of talent in the UK, and we'll be trying to find partnerships where we can bring the best of that talent together in what will undoubtedly, I assume, I have to be careful because nobody else has announced who's coming to the series yet, but let's assume a David and Goliath-like competition.
I think that's a pretty fair bet.
So it's what the Brits do very well in the way of motivating people is go and do the impossible. Whether we can or not, that's there's an element of luck in 24-hour racing. One
of the most intriguing parts of the announcement is that phrase you've used: at least two of these cars.
Yeah, at least two. There's nothing more that I can announce today, because you'll appreciate, you've no doubt been following in the background the rules and regulations and the negotiations and discussions and arguments. The rules have only really recently been set, and the ACO have been able to say this is what we're going to do. We're a public company. I've had to go through the process of proper governance and getting approvals for doing this level of racing, but you'll appreciate that the whole business case is not yet mature, the partnership case is not yet mature. We haven't signed all the contracts that we need, although we have agreements in principle in place. But what I can say is we can make the business case work with at least 2 cars. But you're right, that leaves the door open for more.
Final question is, we've got this performance parameters defined with a lower lap speed, or rather higher lap per time than we've currently got. You just gave a quite cheeky answer, quite a nice answer as well, that it doesn't appear to be this car that's restricting it to a 3:30 lap time.
Not at all. No, we're detuning. I think I think the Formula One pedigree and what you'll see when Valkyrie gets in the hands of the journalist is a car of phenomenal lap time with phenomenal downforce. It's essentially a Formula One car on the road. Clearly we have to detune it to meet the requirements of this, but this is not about ultimate top speed. This is about demonstrating endurance and quality and a tenacity to race. So different needs. I don't think it matters that we have to detune. We have to give other people a bit of a chance, but it'll be great racing, and it'll demonstrate or not the quality of Aston Martin engineering, which of course finds its way into our road cars.
And this evolution, no hybrid system. This is a pure V12.
We haven't described exactly what it will be yet, but what I can say with absolute certainty is it's a 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12, and I can't think of a better thing to listen to on the Mulsanne Straight.
Andy, you were grinning as you were saying that. I can see the enthusiasm in you coming out. For now, congratulations, a great announcement.
Thank you very much.
Well, the last of 3 major names behind the announcement we've just had from Aston Martin is David King. David, you've been at the helm of Aston Martin's racing efforts for some little time now. This is a big step forward in what's been actually a very positive road forward for the Aston Martin brand that develops into a new era.
It's a dream come true to sit on a stage with the boss and announce something like we've done today. It's as I said, it feels like we're opening a new golden era for sports car racing in the top category. And to think that we've been a driving force behind that, that our brand has that power to influence the direction that it goes, to collaborate with the other manufacturers and the regulators is it's fantastic, because everyone's done it for the good of the sport.
Tell me about what the appeal is here. It's clearly in part to win the big races. We expect to hear an announcement from Toyota later about their plans. We know others are beginning to gather their thoughts together. Is it about just the big races and the marketability of that, or is it about the prospect of going up against direct market competitors?
That's an interesting question, because frankly we don't need to race Valkyrie to prove that it's I believe, going to be the greatest road-going hypercar ever. So we could just leave it at that. Say, the brave bit is that coming into a BOP formula means that we won't always win, and that takes some courage to accept the fact that the car that we put on the pinnacle of road cars will get beaten by other cars. I don't want to say lesser cars, but you know what I mean. Cars that are positioned not as high in the
maybe not further far up the lottery winners list as yours might be.
Yes. Yeah. So that means it's the coming to win. It's the opportunity to come and win for Aston Martin with a Valkyrie, because it fits the regs and it's glamorous and exciting and it's got a naturally aspirated V12 engine, and it's the charisma of the car and the opportunity to win. Yes, of course, Le Mans is the big prize, but to win a world championship, to go and win key races in major markets, to create theatre to bring fans and customers around the world. I think the WEC is important.
Let's clear up, if we can, one other aspect of, I guess, question on people's lips with this announcement, which is you've had this phenomenally successful GT racing platform for quite some time now. More success yesterday, a fantastic turnaround in just one season from the back of the GT grid to pole position yesterday. What's the future for GTE for Aston Martin?
Absolutely assured. We always said this was a multi-year venture. We were still in the first season of racing with a car. It seems like a long time ago that we were not quite on the pace here at Le Mans last year, but we didn't come last. Both cars finished. We haven't had a DNF all season, touch wood, with a new car.
Everybody's touching wood all of a sudden.
And I'm not superstitious, so I'm going to say it because it's an important fact.
Yeah.
And we have not had a DNF. That's an amazing achievement with a new car. And by Silverstone, it was running close to the front of the pace, which was only one race after Le Mans. And then it was a winning car after that. It narrowly lost the chance to win in Fuji. We're the form team. We've won 2 of the 3 last races. And we've got pole position here. So the car's mega. The team are doing a great job. And it's early in its life. And we raced the old Vantage for, feels like decades. So.
Let's have a very brief word about the old Vantage. Final international race for that car that we're aware of. What a phenomenal history that thing has had.
It's amazing, isn't it? The road car, I remember us launching in 2005.
Wow.
So, over 14 years after that, the thing is still going to be competing against much younger opposition.
And actually still in the running for a title.
Yeah.
It is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Final question from me. As always on these occasions, you want to keep your powder dry on some things. There are some really intriguing parts of the announcement. The one that springs out at me is at least 2 of these cars for the 2020-2021 FIA World Endurance Championship. Is there anything you can tell us about that? Is there a plan for customer program? Is there an option for an expanded effort from the factory?
There are plans, yes. I'm not going to talk about them today because, out of respect for all partners and potential partners, it's we said we wouldn't, and we're not going to. But at least 2 means that we hope and expect it to be more. And if we're going to come, it's a pretty bold thing to say we're going to do a new car and we're going to debut it in 14 months at the prologue or whenever it is. That's a pretty ambitious thing to do, even though we've got a car to start with. If we want to come to Le Mans in the end of that first season with a chance to beat I don't want to preempt their announcement, but the biggest car manufacturer in the world that will have much more resources than us, we need as many bullets in our gun as possible.
There can be few marks of the progress for Aston Martin than what we're going to experience over the next 2 weekends, David. Your car on pole for the GTE Pro Battle at Le Mans 24 Hours tomorrow. An announcement today that you're returning with a serious effort with a really exciting motor car for the pinnacle of endurance racing. And of course next weekend you'll have the cans on and be looking to do something in GT4 at yet another 24-hour race at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, we will. Important debut for our GT4 car. We'll be running in the SP8T class, which is we'll be running a slightly hotter version of the GT4 car in that. And great stellar driver lineup, actually. And we will be giving the swan song to the old Vantage in an international motor race, actually. So it's not this weekend, it's next weekend. Because the GT8 is, we've got some customer drivers in that car, and they'll be running alongside the works cars there. So
and we'll let the exhaustion wash over us after both of those days. For now, marvellous day for Aston Martin. Great announcement, great to hear from it, and thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Well, we're looking at a picture of the concept of the racing Valkyrie on the wall, and standing with me at the moment, I would guess, I don't know how you describe yourself, Marek Reichmann. I would say the guardian of Aston Martin's brand values now.
Yeah, I mean, grandiose title of Chief Creative Officer, but I'm the design guy. I'm the designer, so obviously, as far as Valkyrie is concerned, worked from the very early stages with Adrian, both of our teams then developing the car to the level it's at now, and 15 years of creating all of the Aston Martins that you see, and all of the other adventures that we're going into as well, apartments, boating, whatever it may be, but that comes through myself and my team.
There's not very many boring Mondays there for you.
There are no boring Mondays, actually. The only thing about Monday is you think there aren't enough hours in the week yet again.
Marek, there's clearly a new vision for the direction of Aston Martin and their road car brand. We saw an amazing array of new cars at the Geneva show, probably unmatched in Aston Martin's history, and very few other brands as well. Yeah. And again, you've done exactly what Andy did when I asked him a similar question. There's a big grin going on your face. Tell me about the journey right now.
Well, and it makes both of us smile because we are car guys. But we're car guys that have petrol on one side in the veins and electricity on the other side, because that's important as well. And the vision that we set forward with Andy to create the second century plan, we're on track, we're delivering, and it's exciting because it's such an adventurous vision. It's a vision that gives us 7 new cars in 7 years. That's 1 brand new car a year for an independent British company. And showing our lineup of rear mid-engine cars in Geneva, for me, was one of the highlights, because to be true competitors in the world of sports cars and racing, you need a mid-engine platform. And starting with Valkyrie, 002 and 003, and eventually the concept of Vanquish, it's a dream. I'm a car guy. I'm still a 14-year-old boy at heart because I love cars, and just to see them all, it gives me the goosebumps. And we have the opportunity to see what everyone else has done, take all of that and all of the knowledge from Red Bull Advanced Technologies and Adrian and that relationship and F1, and bundle that into a mid-engine car as the core car, the Vanquish concept, all the way down from the bloodline of a car that potentially could win Le Mans. So as a designer, it doesn't get any better.
It's pretty clear there's been things happening at quite a rush with the hypercar regulations. I think there's a lot of agreement that it's a great concept, but then the marketplace at the moment is a very tricky place to get big corporate boards to actually agree to exciting things. Yeah. Looks like Aston Martin's board has turned something around in double quick time and actually helped them out of a hole here.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's again part of the being the independent brand and being part of obviously now a PLC as well, and the structure that we have and the governance and how we go through the control mechanisms to get things through and get things approved. And it's been, in many respects, from the day we started to think about Valkyrie, there was a vision for where we would take this product. It just so happens that a door opened that we didn't necessarily expect, but we were able to activate as quickly as we possibly could, and as David said in the press conference, working very closely with the ACO and the FIA.
And how closely are you going to be involved now with the development of the project from this point? The basic road car is basically designed. Yeah. How closely aligned are you now with the design and the build team to move this forward to a hypercar racer for September 2020? Not very long away.
No, it's not. And again, heavily involved, because as with our current GTE cars, those surfaces are assessed and come through the design studio as well. So we put forward ideas based on the aero surfacing. And obviously that's what I've been doing with Adrian for the last 2.5 years. So will I have more of an influence? Absolutely not, because it's about aero for speed and it's about aero for winning races versus aero for road. But at the end of the day, I love cars. So being involved in this, sitting next to Adrian and his team as we look through this car is just going to be incredible. So.
Great to have a brand new project for endurance racing in the hands of, exactly as you say, car guys. For now, Marek Reichmann, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.